creation, updating, and deleting. This is the group settings detail screen. So first, I'm going to start out with the group adding of a type. So when we start this workflow of a person indicating that they want to create a new group, they first get this sheet that pops up. And this sheet correlates to the first item in the group details area, the type of group that they're looking to create. This is the same exact workflow that we have for lists, where we would select a category and subcategory for lists and then go into the creation of the name of that list. So this follows that same exact workflow. So if you're unfamiliar with this, please look at the creation of lists or collections in general, because all of the methods of creating a collection will follow the same exact process, where we first determine the type, the category and subcategory, and then go into the actual creation of the details of that collection. So this is an expansion. So right now it is already expanded to reveal the subcategories to show you that. Once I select a subcategory, the sheet is dismissed, and we are presented with the detail screen for creation of a group. And the focus is into the first field, which is the name. So naming this group. That would bring up the keyboard since we are now in focus. This is a required field. You can see the required fields are the first three here. Let's say I wanted to change the category and subcategory once I've already gone to this screen. If I click here, you'll just go right back to this same screen and you go through the same exact process. We have a limit of 100 characters in the group name. That is just to keep them kind of short and concise so that people, it isn't too long of a read for the name itself. The description has a limit of 1,000 characters. We might think about shortening that even further, just to make sure that people are concise with this. The description, name are both searchable. So if I were to do a search of a group by a keyword, we would be looking through the keywords in the name and in the description for content that matches. Another aspect of search is the location. So the location is, it could be a city, it could be a state, it could be country, it could be a zip code, it could be a geofence around my general location. This is helpful for people that are looking for, let's say, local clubs in their area for RC car racing. They can find those through a this location field. I can also do the Find Me by hitting this button over here, which goes into the global action for finding me. That just brings up that map to triangulate your location. For that, you obviously have to give the geolocation capabilities of the device or of the computer. We could do that through IP address actually as well, I believe. To cover the speech to text capability, well, this is a button on the far right hand side of the screen or of the text area here that allows people to speak their description in, so they don't have to enter in so many characters on a smaller keyboard. That's kind of helpful. Then we move into the privacy. So we have two different privacy methods. Community, which means that anyone can find this group and they can view the details of the group, but only members can post in the group. All groups must be joined in a sense. So either they are joined through an invite, which would be a private. So you would need to invite people, members of the group, invite other people to join the group, or community-based, where it's community, anybody can join, and there isn't an invite method that needs to go on. So community, anyone can find it, anyone can view it. Private, you cannot, it isn't searchable, you can't find it, it's invite only. Members are the only people that can view it and make posts. Also with community, only members can make posts. So you have to join the group to make any posts in the group. So that's privacy, and this just brings up a sheet for privacy. We wanted to be able to give the visual of this, because this visual representation is used throughout, and a description of what it means that it is community. So that's the reason for the sheet rather than just in a drop down here. We need to give that extra information to the user. The next part is rules. So rules brings up, so this is a text area where I could go in and I could type this stuff in if I wanted to, but that's very, very daunting, and there's lots of rules you could come up with. But so that's why we have the easy button here, the plus button, that allows them to open up this sheet that brings up all these canned rules that we would have, and they can go through and they can select. This is a multi-select, so clicking anywhere in this list item would make this selected. Also selecting all would of course select all rules. So this is just an easy way for them to kind of use our canned rules to add to their group. So you select what you want, it's a multi-select, and then you hit done, and then they are populated within the rules area in a nicely formatted bulleted list. You could then go in, I guess, and make edits to that if you desired. But you can just move on from there if you wanted to. The next capability or next area is the roles-based access control. This is something that I just added today, and I think will add a lot of capability to the groups and other aspects of the BlueQ ecosystem. So roles, we automatically have at least 2 roles in any group. You automatically have the admin. The admin is going to be the person that is creating this group. And then you have members. Those are the people that are going to be joining that group. So any group will automatically have 2 roles, but we can add additional roles. And in this case, you can see I have moderator, and there's another one over here called scout. This is a scroll. You can scroll off to the side here, so there are 2 links. The first one is to the list over here. That's this red box. It goes to the list of roles. So these are the different roles that have been created within this group. And then the plus button over here allows you to create a new button. It's the same exact plus button that is right here within the list. So you have the capability to add additional roles from either here or from the top level up here. So creating a new role. So a role is basically a collection of people, a collection or a group that you within the group that you can then give control to different capabilities. So in the case that we have within a group, we have the concept of rooms. Rooms are just like different channels or threads that you would have for conversations, just to keep the conversation focused within each one of the rooms. So you can grant room access to different roles. So if you didn't want members to have access to a room that was just for the admins and moderators, let's say, you could grant access to that room to admin and moderator and not to members and scout. So that is the concept of roles and the control that you can have over who gets access to view and make updates and changes to each of these areas. So with a role, you have a role name, and that is, in this case, it's admin, it's moderator, it's scout, it's member. That is the name, and that is required. So we have a character limit of 20 on that. I didn't want it to be too large for that, so I made it 20. So that is the name. Then the next thing is you have the badge. So I didn't want to go through and create all the badges in here, so I just kept it as the default. But we will have a bunch of different visuals. Up here you can see those visuals for admin, moderator, scout. I just grabbed a couple icons here. We will go through and we will create different collections for badges when it comes to roles. And those will be all available through here. And you do have the option for none. So I can go through, I can select, the one that is selected right now is none. It has a blue highlight around it. I can go through and I select the badge that I want. Something in the future that may come to fruition is changing the background color of the badge. The badge itself, when it's displayed next to your avatar, that's right here. If you look real close, you can see that this is an admin just by the crown being shown. By default, we will not show the badge for just general members. It's just, we want to give a little bit of panache to the people that actually have a badge and have earned like a moderator status or a scout status or are an admin. So that is kind of a badge of honor in a sense. The last aspect are, so the default color that we will use to start with is all blue. So we'll use blue on all the badges, but it is a concept that we may add in the future where you can change the color, the background color of the badge itself, the badge that overlays your avatar. That would only be accessible, the roles are only capable to be controlled by the admin. Anybody that is an admin can create a new role and can actually create, edit, and delete the roles. The last part is a description, and it's just a short little description to explain what this role really is. It's meant to keep us organized and an understanding of what each role really is. So that's what this last one is. And then you have the ability to delete that role. For deleting, you automatically go through the global action for deleting a critical item. So we want to confirm. I didn't go through and create the deleting of a role, but like this, for example, is the deleting of a group. So what we do is we give the indication of what you're deleting visually, the name of it, and any details with it. Like this has 356 members in it, and it is a community accessible group. And then we have like little tips on, okay, we would like you to do this or these things before you possibly do it, just to kind of give them a last second. Let's think about this before you actually go through the process of deleting. And then they need to enter in their password to go through the process of deleting. As soon as they enter the password correctly, the delete up here then becomes available, and they can then proceed to delete that group, that in this case, gosh, what is this one? This is an assignment. So if you were assigned a role of an admin, you would be deleting that assignment from that person. In this case, I didn't go through and create the role, but it would follow the same exact process where we have the role name, the description of it below it, the icon over here, the badge representation, and any type of like warning type stuff that we would have in here. So if you just delete a role, the people that are contained within that role will need to occupy a new role. So by default, they're going to just fall back to the member role, which would be a base level. And then you would need to go through and assign those people those new roles. So this is a very destructive activity, and we don't want to encourage this. That's why we have the password capability built in. So read through the documentation here on roles. The creation, updating, and deleting of this is all controlled through this one screen. We have the list view of the different roles, and they're also displayed here as well at the top level of the group. So that is roles, and also you have the different icons here that show up next to the names. Next, we have the admin. So by default, you're going to have yourself, whoever's creating this, show up as an admin. In this case, I've added one other person, and you can see that down here in the peep assign. So you're assigning another person the admin role. In this case, I'm actually going back after I've already assigned this person, so they are checked already. But I can check more. This is a multi-select, so I can select multiple people and then hit grant privileges. This is all those people that I would have granted those privileges to would then show, their avatars would show up here with their special badge for admin. One thing to note here, I will always be here. The owner is always the top one in the list, and then on down the list of most active people. And then I will always show up with the more, the ... for more. And the reason we have that is if I wanted to give up the admin privileges and assign it to somebody else, I can do that. I click that, I hit assign ownership to somebody else. As you can see, I cannot leave the group while I am the owner of the group. So I have to assign that to somebody else, and then I can leave. So as soon as you are not the owner, this is the owner's view. So this is the owner's view of the more, and this is the view if you are not the owner. You could be the admin, you could be just a regular person. Any place you see your name and the ... you would be able to leave the group or other activities that you would take. So I would hit assign owner. I basically get the same exact screen. You notice the screen is very similar here. It's just the ability to select who it is. It's a single select in this case, not a multi-select as it is here, because there is only one owner of any one group. You can have multiple admins, but only one owner. So you're going to have a super user, and then you're going to have users or admins underneath that. In this case, I get the idea that I have my admin, that he has this badge that I can see, but I also have all the other people in the group that I can also assign ownership to one of these people. This is a double confirm, so I believe we need to probably have the other person confirm the act of accepting this. So maybe a little thought process goes into this as we kind of build this out. So maybe they get a message that informs them, hey, Brian Porter wants to assign you ownership of so-and-so group. Do you accept or decline? So just like you would accept or decline a connection with somebody, but in context for this. So transferring ownership, as soon as I select somebody, then I can transfer ownership. Maybe this was probably not active until I have selected somebody. So that's just a little usability piece here. But that is the transferring of ownership to somebody. So that is the admin area. And then you have the final thing is permissions. These are just two that I came up with. I think I took them directly from LinkedIn or something like that. But we could add multiple permissions down here as we discover new features and functionality when we want to build into the groups area. So most of these are probably going to be on-off switches, so we can just add each one of those as they come along. And the last part is delete. I already kind of covered that with roles, where you can delete the group. We want to give them some coaching to say, hey, you want to give fair warning to everybody of your intent to delete the group before you actually do this, and you can transfer ownership to other people, and then that allows you to leave the group, but it continue on. But even if somebody, let's say we have a group, RC Car, let's use that example again, RC Car group, and there's 356 members in that group. There's lots of conversations. People are having a good time, and the owner gets disgruntled and they want to make everybody mad, and they're going to delete the group. Well, they can delete the group, but what we're going to do is we're going to throw up basically a message when people try to enter this group, letting people know, hey, this group is being deleted by the owner. Does anyone want to take over ownership of this? Please request ownership using this button, basically. So we will archive it, even though we're saying delete. Archive it for a certain period of time, maybe 30 days, to allow somebody to step forward and say, I'll take ownership of it. But then after that, we'll probably deprecate it and delete it for good, because it really isn't a group that is being actively used. But we want to protect against groups being deleted without the full group having say over that. So that is the deleting of a group. Please read the documentation. I put a lot of time into documenting all this stuff and writing out as much as I can. But if you have any questions, you can refer to this video, or you can ask me directly. That is group, the creation and updating and deleting of a group.